people come up and they might give their certain interpretation of the Bible. Us understanding the true context and interpretation of the Bible, our job is to correct them. And if they come against it, then hey, that's on them. You know.
And sometimes that may come out with, well, what do you wicked? You know, it may come out like you've seen it, confrontational. Now we're at a point where our teachers have showed us, like, if a guy don't get it, let him go. He don't want it, it ain't for everybody anyway. Some people come up and realize it's not for them, and once we realize it, we let them do what they go. We're gonna have a good time and do what you gotta do. Not, you know, there's no reason to have to go that far. Now, if they come up all aggressive and want to get physical, then we have to meet you with that aggression. You know, but if that's what you're coming up here for, but we're not really up here for that. All right, we don't really want that. We just want to teach this word, and we would prefer you to get it if it's for you. But if it's not, it's okay.
That's it.
Well, I like the sermon. I heard that's
This Galatians 4:16, it says, "Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth?"
Yep. And that happens a lot of times. You know, you'll tell somebody the truth, and it's the truth that they don't want to hear. Hey, now that we read Romans 13, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the time that you wake out of sleep. And a lot of people don't want to be woken up. They don't want to have to deal with the responsibilities of having to change their diet, change the way they think, change how they spend or waste their time, their conduct, you know, the way they do things.
Speak unto us smooth things.
Exactly. Tell me how good it's going to be.
Yeah.
Tell me how I don't have to do nothing. It's just going to happen for me. No. This is a labor of love.
That's right.
Something that you have to enjoy that labor to make it through. You have to do works in your faith.
This is the book of John 21 and verse 17. He saith unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved because he had said unto him the third time, lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. Yahweh said unto him, feed my sheep.
Yep.
And that's essentially what we're doing. We're feeding the sheep of the Lord. Of Yahweh, feeding the elect. You know, so it may offend. It may, it may not, go over smooth or be, PC.
Yep.
But we're feeding the elect. And then when the elect hears this word, they're going to be quickened with the spirit to, something that we say is gonna trigger them to say, yo, this let me inquire, kind of like you did. Not say, that they inquire about this. What is this about? And then, they're gonna look further into it and search these things out, like there was a Church of Berea, to see if the elect member is gonna search these things out to see if these things are really true. Because we always tell people what we're saying up here. Go look, do the research yourself. We go into words. Go do the research yourself to see if because we could just be up here just blabbling, saying,
There's a lot of people that do that. That just walk around
go
with
wing
a Bible and don't ever open it, but with a big old sign or something walking around and just on a loudspeaker just saying whatever they're saying.
Shouting out
You can't
John
ask no
3:16.
questions. You can't get no edification, no understanding out of it.
A lot of regurgitation.
Yeah.
A lot of Christians, they're good at that.
Christ so loved the world, or God so loved the world.
There's a lot of parrots out there where they hear something that sounds good, and they just go repeat, not knowing the true breakdown of the Bible. So like we love when people come up and ask questions, so we can edify, so we could educate, bring
Understanding this thing to the forefront of this.
And we're also out here to warn you
Yeah. Oh yeah.
of what's coming to the earth.
Stiff warning. I don't know if you know this, what the brother's saying. World War III is gonna happen.
Oh, absolutely.
It's pretty.
Are we calling that Armageddon?
There you go.
There we go. Right. It's for sure gonna happen, and America's for sure gonna lose. America's for sure gonna lose. Thus saith the Bible.
My brother said our Christian family, like you said, walk around with the sign and they don't never read
Right.
the book.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, you are the original inhabitants of the land of Israel.
Right.
Is that fair?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, you are
Is that
too.
fair?
Yeah, if you receive it.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
Thank you. I say that going back to the Bible, and we're talking about Genesis 15, verse 13 to 14.
Uh-huh.
if the original, to your point, then America will be destroyed.
Right.
Because if we are descendants of Abraham,
Okay.
then you're talking about how did we miss, if the first slave in America should have been 1619, and you talk about the 400 years, and 2019, how did our people miss that? To his point, they're not reading that book.
Right.
How did we miss that?
But let me tell you, because that was ancient Egypt.
Yeah,
The 400 years. This one, no man knoweth the hour when this one's going to end.
yeah.
Now, this Egypt is another version of Egypt, another house of bondage or slavery that we're going through. And this is spiritually called Sodom in Egypt. So we see the sodomy happening. This is Revelation. We can see that happening, the sodomy part, right? Happening, like the agenda being pushed. You can see that happening. That's why this place is known. The rest of the world ain't really with it. Putin and everybody else is against it. There's a few countries that's with it, but majority of the world is not with that ideal. That's what's gonna have people on different sides, but more so the monetary money side of what's going on in the earth. And one certain, I call them chess pieces on the board, like Ukraine is a major chess placement on the board that the Western nations, the EU, the NATO, the United States, places like that want.
So
They want that oil and pipeline also.
If I may go back,
Yeah.
so you said that was ancient.
Right.
So my question would be, are we using the Bible as a book of prophecy? In other words, things to come? Or are we just using it as revelation, just current events?
So I got this saying. There was a saying in the world, right? It said, well, our elders say, to know the
mystery.
to know the mystery, you have to know the history.
Eschatology.
Eschatology, right? Also, there's another saying, you won't know where we're going unless you know where we've been.
That's right.
So that's why we do read the
Ecclesiastes 1 and
history
9.
of it,
Somebody
Yeah,
get that.
right?
Get
But
Ecclesiastes. Somebody read it in the NLT. Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. Real quick.
we'll let the Bible speak.
To your point, we were in Egypt 430 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
400 years we were in captivity.
Yeah.
So the first 30 years we weren't in captivity.
Right.
I got
Ecclesiastes,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ecclesiastes 1 and 9 in the NLT, history merely repeats itself. It has all been done before. Nothing under the sun is truly new.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
So it's a new version of Egypt. And when you go to the 28th chapter of Deuteronomy, in the last verse, it shows you that we were going into Egypt again with ships. The first time we went into Egypt, we walked as a family, pretty much. And then we grew as a family into the mighty nation. And that's when we got thrust out, you know, the way Moses and all of that happened, right? But in this Egypt, we went into bondage with slave ships. Now, the northern kingdom also, which are the other tribes that you see here, they caught boats over here, and once they was over here, here come the conquistadors and so on and so forth, that put them into bondage. So they still came into slavery with slave ships. I mean, came into bondage with ships. And we know the story of the so-called Negroes coming over in the slave ships. So it still fits the prophecy. Now, 1619 to 1970 is a 350 years, or the 3 days and a half, prophesied in Revelation also. When you have the understanding, when this knowledge came back out around the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
So that tied us right back into it.
I'm gonna make a comment. Your brothers are righteous because you're talking from that book. Well, I hear the righteous. My brother got the saved, so that's what's up. But you guys are righteous. If we moved on from Genesis and we went to John the 8th chapter, that whole chapter where Jesus is having a conversation with the current Jews that's in Israel
Yep.
that stole, are stealing what's ours. If we look at that entire chapter, what that's showing us is it's a person, because you talked about the lamb. There's a person that fits that description that's having that conversation to this day. I don't know if we have that in front of us. We don't have to read the whole chapter, but the point is, remember, they say, the current Jews of today say they have never been in bondage.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't fit the prophecy.
Which proves that whatever y'all got going on out here, keep it up.
Oh, we shouldn't. We shouldn't. We're just trying to earn our salvation.
Like,
Because like we said, we know we live here and we don't have jets and boats and whatever else to get out of here. So we gotta pray to the Lord that He come get us. That He rescue us out of what's going down there.
What year was the organization started?
It pretty much got first published around late 60s, early 70s. You know, it was from like the mass level. But it got really pushed heavy in the early 2000s.
We'll keep pushing. I like it. Thank you for your time.
No problem, appreciate it. Y'all have a good time. Y'all be safe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to run everybody up the street or be confrontational.
No.
Just explain.
No, I mean, somebody get that in 2 Timothy 2, start like around 24. Everybody always expect us to cuss everybody out that come up with just a question.
You got those jakes that give Israel a bad rap. And it's about edifying because I didn't get to explain to them that yes, these are the children of Israel on the sign, but our people are also scattered amongst these other heathen nations. So we don't know who is coming up could be an Israelite. So that's why we deal in the spirit. Try the spirit by the spirit. It's a lot.
I know the brother was gonna go to Exodus to further prove about the 430 years to prove, because a lot of jakes that come into this,
Yeah, they
got to go through the doctrine of these, certain Israelite groups that teach that we're the Israelites because when Abraham, the 400-year prophecy of Abraham,
Right.
that was already fulfilled thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
But they look at that as a parallel because they see, we was in slavery for 400 years, just like we did here in
We
America.
did 400 years plus here.
Yeah. That's why I had him read Ecclesiastes.
Right.
That which have been is that which shall be.
Yep.
It just so happened to happen again. But we're not in ancient Egypt.
Right.
We're in the modern Egypt, here in America.
That's the toughest part, understanding when it was for that personal time,
Yeah.
that particular time, to multi-situation.
If you really look at it, captivity for the Israelites started over here before, prior to 16.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
what do you think about the conquistadors? What about Gad?
14.
They had to kind of clear out Gad to make room for
Yep.
Benjamin, Judah, and Levi.
Yep.
So they were in captivity. They had sent a lot of Gadites back to Europe, certain parts of Europe.
Yeah.
And they ain't sitting back there for no vacation.
We know
In
it was.
the first Southern Kingdom slaves, they were brought over in the 1500s.
I was gonna say because 1492 was when
Portugal and
Western
Spain
came over.
from I think like 1526 or something to that effect.
Seville, Spain was a major slave port.
Yep.
You
That
know,
was funny. I thought about what Yakanan said. Take what they know.
Yep.
And don't necessarily discredit what they know, but then show them what they don't know. And that's how you edify. There's a lot of, even some men in Great Millstone still kind of get that, because you ain't already understanding what's going on. I don't got time to break it all back down. No, that's our job. We're supposed to break it all back down so they particularly can get it. And how many more people get edified on there? Or even certain brothers get refreshed by going back through it. So that's the job. So, and like there's brothers out here that may not know that full breakdown. We all may know. My son don't know it, particularly like we just talked about it. So different situations where people get that breakdown, and now they've built up that much more.
All things unto
Yeah,
You
that
said
is
2 Timothy
2 Timothy 2 and start at 24.
24. 24.
You got it? Yeah, it's 2 Timothy 2 and 24. And the servant of the Lord must not strive, but be gentle unto all men, apt to teach, patient,
Yep.
in meekness, instructing those that oppose themselves.
Yep.
The Most High Yahweh peradventure will
Hey,
give them.
oppose themselves. Some people will fight against this thing, not realizing we're trying to give you what's good for you. Here, eat this bitter herb, man. It's gonna help you. Nah, man, it's nasty. Nah, man, eat this. It's better. It's beneficial to you. And so we have to endure that confrontation of back and forth sometimes. That wasn't necessarily the situation, but with some jakes, you got to do that. You got it.
The Most High Yahweh peradventure will give them repentance to the acknowledging of the truth.
And they may wake up. They may wake up from this one experience.
They get it.
Yeah, he already was,
He
at
already
least
had a
tuned
little
in.
sense. He had
Yeah.
already had a sense of knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
He knew-
basic things.
He knew it was wrong.
Yeah.
Done.
Right.
He had a little discernment kind
Yeah,
of.
he was like, you know what?